gentlemen, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 8th Matlock Season 1, well, actually, I shouldn't even do that. Episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the bigger world. I do apologize greatly that this review is delayed because I had some personal things to take care of. It's the holiday season, so I'm a little bit busy. I was estimating to get this out 1 day late, but now it's coming out almost 4 days late. But I'm at least thankful that, well, Madlock's going to be on a little bit of a long winter break. We're not scheduled to come back till January 30th. So, yeah, I mean, that's a benefit for me, not really for you. I do apologize again greatly. I really, really do. Hopefully, I don't know what the schedule is going to look like next year. I'm already kind of plotting out 2025, which kind of sounds crazy for me because that's 2 weeks away. I don't know why I'm emphasizing about that. But anyway, here we are, the winter finale. It doesn't quite feel like a winter finale. It kind of just feels like on the next episode, the next chapter of the story, which I think for me, I much prefer it this way. There is no big, like, grandiose, like, thing to keep people holding over for 6 weeks. I think I'm just still used to that era of television from still a couple years ago where, like, you know, we end the winter portion. There's a big kind of OMG cliffhanger. You got to wait 6 weeks to like 3 months before the solution, the resolution. But in this case, no, it's just another like, oh yeah, so yeah, we'll come back. We'll see you guys for more episodes in January. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And that's still a little whiles away. But other than that, I really did enjoy this episode. I think this challenged certain things. This challenged certain dynamics. I don't quite think it was just another like building episode. This was definitely like, let's kind of take a pause from my growing things and kind of like just figure out where things stand. Let's test some things out, you know, because again, like, I know we're still in the first season. We're only now in the 8th episode, but sometimes just like happy-go-lucky times. I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, that's great to be at peace, to have, you know, comfort around your fellow peers, regardless if you're on a secret mission to basically destroy the whole firm. But there is moments where like you kind of have to like, not everything's gonna go your way, especially when it comes to developing these relationships, which are supposed to be key to figuring out the answers that you seek. But then there comes, you know, outside forces that mean to challenge it, maybe even break them. And I strongly think this was another great episode through and through. I'm still commending the fact that Katie Bates is giving it her all in each and every episode. Again, I know this is her last role. I said this a billion times already, but like the fact that every episode is treated like with such craftsmanship, which is ingenuity, is just, it's commended. It really, really is. Also, it feels like it's been a while since I watched Matlock. I know it's only been like a week and a half since I last watched an episode, but I'm like, it felt a little longer. The first break of any TV show kind of hits you hard. It really does. Because you got a good flow going. Then you kind of like, you know, oh, wait, we're on break for Thanksgiving. We come back for a couple episodes and we kind of break again. So I never really feel comfortable with the show coming back. Hopefully with us getting at least, I believe we still have 12 more episodes left this season. I think it's either 18 or 20. I forgot what the episode order was this season. I want to say it's 20. I'm most likely sure it's 18. But the point is that we're still kind of not at the halfway mark yet of the whole season. So I still think we have a good pace to go, but we'll see how it goes when we come back in the winter portion of the year. But with all that being said, let's just get to the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Matlock. So we begin with Maddie. I guess like my assumption was like, am I watching a season 4 episode? Because I feel like Maddie's like giving advice of her own. It's like, kind of feels weird, even for her age. Like, you know, in terms of like where she's at, like this feels like, what are we setting up for? Oh no, it's just her grandson Augie. It's a mock trial, you know, kind of, you know, okay, well, my grandma's kind of a lawyer, so I might as well like trying to get in the family business now by doing the mock trials, which I've always been curious by doing. I've done debates before, but I've never done mock trials. It would have been an interesting thing to learn at his school. Especially he's doing it at such a young age. Again, I want to say he's in either end of elementary or beginning of middle school. But considering his vocabulary, he's probably in middle school. And it's just training period right now, but there is going to be a demonstration for all parents and guardians to come over and take a look at. And Maddie's already promised him that she's going to be there no matter what. That's a promise she's going to make. And that even though it is very much just a is this a mock? It's not a real trial, but it's still, the phrase is like, you want to support your child for the small stuff and the big stuff. Because again, it just showcases that you're involved in their life very, very much. I can attest to that. Like, as much as I love my parents, that they did their absolute best to be there for me. Like, there were moments where, like, when they couldn't show up and I was like, yeah, this kind of does suck, especially when I see my friends, their parents show up. So yeah, it's a bit sucky at times. Meanwhile, we're getting a little bit of a parallel with Maddie and Augie with Olympia and her kids, as they're kind of going through the similar rigmarole, like getting their kids to school, to just kickstart their day off right. Olympia's, again, a little bit, not 100% there. She's kind of, still reeling from the revelation that Julian admitted to cheating on her. She's not quite 100% up to her game, but she's doing her best to be a good co-parent, to be a parent in general, especially when her kid forgets their entire project. So now she has to go back home to where she doesn't want to be, and then all the way back to drop it off and still have to go to work. So, not quite her day. Not quite her way. I'm still kind of wondering, considering the fact that we were in the middle of a holiday episode. We were all with Christmas cheer, and then just most of the holiday stuff kind of went away. It just kind of feels weird. For me, it kind of feels like we jumped to January already. But like for me, I'm like, no, like that can't work out like that. That shouldn't work out like that. It's weird. So from there, we go over to, I want to say, yes. So no, we're still with Olympia. She's about to head back. She runs into one of the other moms, and they're just kind of talking amongst them, trying to just catch up a little bit. They don't really, Olympia's not really at much of the school events because of, her full-time job and everything. Same with Julian. So it's mostly their nanny kind of in their steed. So they're not quite around, and they're kind of setting up the small world that is Mulligary Prep. That there's the parents that do show up, and then there's the nannies for the very busy parents who are not able to get there. They call them the nanny cams, where, the gossip, the chismosas, that sort of thing. And yeah, so she's about this, but they're about to split up. Olympia offered to have her nanny take care of her kids while her nanny's on leave for the moment. And then she turns around, she sees another nanny who is begging her for assistance, as she just lost her job because apparently, they don't talk about it there, but she needs her legal counsel, and we'll get to more of that in a second. Meanwhile, Maddie's excited because she's about to get hooked on another Will Brexa case, another big pharmacy case. So this could be a really big deal for her. Still moving up the ladder, developing her relationship with Julian, trying to see if she can maybe figure some things out with that one. We then cut over to, I think we come back to the law firm a little bit, where Maddie's getting psyched up. She's getting ready to go for this big case. Also, she's got a secondary motive, as Senior is officially not in this episode. He's off in Australia for the holiday period. So this is the perfect opportunity for her to kind of go into his computer, log in, and then also manage to figure out what is exactly on his computer that might be connected to the whole opioids crisis from a decade ago. So that's her goal here. However, sadly, his assistant is still working there, and that's creating a thorn for her, since she needs time to be able to kind of sneak her way to it. But this is going to be a big issue, really. This will not be easy. She kind of circles back over to her cubicle / office / former office. I'm not really sure where things are at right now with their status. And sadly, Sarah's kind of mending a broken-hearted Billy, who, again, as the last episode, is no longer in a relationship. His girlfriend, thought to be soon fiance, has broken his heart. He is now depressed. He is listening to Adele, which I've only listened to a couple of Adele songs in my life, so I have no idea what's on her first 2 albums. And yeah, he's not in a good place. Not in a good place whatsoever. Maddie's just there okay, well, I'm very sorry for this, but sadly, I do have to go. I have to get on my next big pharmacy case. However, sadly, Olympia pulls her off of it, and she needs her assistance on her case, which apparently is a defamation case, as the nanny / former nanny is stating that there's this website that parents could go to kind of supervise their nannies a little bit, kind of figure out the similar to the nanny cans, what's the gossip, what's the actual details of the nannies they could possibly hire. And one of the things is that there was apparently these pictures that were posted online of this particular nanny supposedly abusing one of the kids. And yeah, so again, pictures taken out of context. That's just, again, one of the internet's most lovely tropes, even now in a very dangerous position, soon to be enough with AI. But these photos, again, don't really provide much context because, again, you're not there. It could be a different circle. Regardless of what the case might be, the parents looked at this and really were disgusted by this, thinking she is an abuser, that she is not treating the kids correctly. So that family fired her, and then all the other parents and all the other places she was trying to apply to are rejecting her because they obviously go here for a background check, and they see this and they're like, oh no, we can't trust this woman whatsoever. We can't. So yeah, she's kind of she got bills to pay. She's got to try and get her kids out here so they can live with her. Definitely just a lot of financial value here that she's got to be able to do, and not having a source of income anymore is definitely hurting that. So they agree to handle it because I guess Olympia just needs a win, considering the fact that things have just not been good for Team Olympia right now, and especially trying to hook Maddie onto this case of because again it's a very tricky position considering the fact within this, for some specific reason, in this specific area of court, Olympia just has bad juju. What the website that the nanny cams that this entire photos got posted on is apparently run by one of the people associated with the school. Well, in terms of the parental council, and then the judge is someone Olivia has a bad history with. So basically, she's already kind of undershafted here already from the beginning one. So she's not gonna have a really good footing, an equal footing in this case. So the reason why she pulled Maddie off on this is to get her to represent her to see if she can at least get the cease and desist order without getting Olympia involved too much. But again, Maddie is more focused on the pharmacy case, but Olympia not being in the same boat with Julian right now. She's more like, he'll understand. Again, you're my woman first. You are part of my team first. So if Julian wants you, he's just gonna have to wait a bit. And they do so. They let him know, and Julian isn't really more focused on Maddie. He's more focused on the school, on the kids, considering the fact, again, this is a very sensitive subject. These parents and nannies are kind of notorious for being very, very, very shady and sketchy. That doing this could potentially maybe not jeopardize them, but definitely with their kids being in that school system each and every day. Yeah, so it's not quite a good time for them, again, especially they haven't really had much of a conversation since Julian admitted to her that he had an affair, and Maddie's just in the middle of this great, wonderful. So Maddie goes ahead to represent, to go be the prosecutor, the counsel in this claim. Sadly, her competitor, her defense is also equally as sassy. And again, the judge already sees right through Maddie that she knows she's a representative of Olympia, immediately denies her claim, denies. And now they're kind of like, crap, what do we do? Olympia is convening at the school when she's getting this call to get notified of this news, and the three of the other moms show up, already discussed with Olympia for the fact that she's defending the nanny instead of thinking about the children. And Olympia's like, look, I don't care about your opinion. I really couldn't give a shit about it. I'm here because this woman is, has been defamed under out of context photos. She deserves the right to a fair interview, to get a brand new employment, and these are kind of destroying her. And, because again, these are pictures. It's not like video. And even if you have video, you don't know what the context before, you don't know the context within it, you don't even know anything. So again, a full assessment, a full judgment of anything should not be validated here. And Olympia just said, screw y'all, I'm leaving. Bye-bye. I want to say we cut back to the law firm for a second. That's what I really want to say. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. This is kind of where I get a little bit sketchy with things. So there, from what I do remember next is that, okay, the cease and desist order is now tenderable at this time. Now, instead of doing that, they got to now sue for defamation, which means they need the exact who actually posted it and what's going on here. So they need to get the email account, they need to get the IP address, they need to get all these credibilities to figure out who exactly was the person who did all this. But again, sadly, that seems more of improbability, because again, considering where this section is, they have to go for the same judge. So they really kind of have to know their stuff before they can come back again. And Olympia needs to go this time as a full seed, no matter what. I want to see this is where Sarah and Billy kind of return back to the plot. Billy's kind of still being minorly depressed about everything, but Sarah manages to get at least an email address associated with it because, her new girlfriend from tech is, helping her out with this, and she managed to at least get her the email, which is associated with one of the moms there. So Olympia calls her in for an interview, see if she can figure out anything else. Maddie kind of using all of this, back and forth, Olympia being busy as her opportunity to go to Senior's office. She manages to get into the computer. She manages to print a document that was dated for the day of the original signature that we found in the last episode, that she assumed this could be the proof needed that the Senior disposed of those documentations. But however, sadly, being the case that might be in this particular instance, is that even though she prints it out, sadly, for some ungodforsaken reason, like, Senior just has to not print in his office computer printer. He's going to print it to the printing department all the way floors down where there's just a lot of traffic. So I'm just like, that's wonderful. That's great. I mean, sure, the head of a firm would be like, oh, I want to go all the way downstairs to another department just to get my printout from my office when I clearly have a printer right here. Maybe Maddie just didn't specify specifically. Who the hell knows? The fact that might be that being even an option on Senior's computer is kind of like idiotic. That's one of those like weird, like, I'm going to blame that he's, not quite all in the head. However, the assistant comes closer and Maddie decides to use the cover of the present for Senior as her excuse to be in the office. The assistant couldn't even give a shit why she's there, and Maddie immediately leaves to head over downstairs. And she does find the printer, but sadly there was no documents there left to print. She manages to kind of sweet talk her way through one of the associates, and they managed to bring out the print lock. And the last couple things were taken by the assistant for Olympia, so at least she knows exactly where she needs to go. So she heads upstairs. She tries to sweet talk her, but sadly those documents, they ain't leaving her side. That ain't happening. So Maddie got no choice but to sit around and wait for her opportunity to strike. Olympia's in the meeting with one of the moms. The mom is using her husband as kind of legal counsel via the phone to at least, kind of protect themselves from any sort of like deliberative word choices. Olympia just gets straight to the point, which is like, all the things she needs to know. She's denying everything. She's just like, I don't know this, I don't know that. Okay, maybe my email account, but could be possibility someone else could have broken into it. Regardless of what the case might be, they're not really, it seems like they're not involved in this. It just happens, the circumstance that that particular email was associated with it, and especially by the time that the husband does come over. It's a bit kind of awkward, but we'll get back to that in a second. Olympia turns over to Maddie, just, again, of the whole thing, just trying to, she needs her right now. She needs her BFF. I hate saying that. She needs that. She needs a support system, and Maddie is, she's got to be there. I know there was a line, we did have a scene earlier where, like, Olympia did admit to Maddie that Julian did have an affair, and of course, obviously, Maddie trying not to get so sentimental and close to Olympia does have to kind of keep her cover story up and kind of keep the sentimental woman that she is, and try to, like, assist her during this time of need. But at the same time, she's like, okay, I don't need to bond with her anymore. I think I got enough in the can. But yeah, Maddie does agree to go along with Olympia. Also, at the same time, Maddie has to also punt back the mock trial that she was supposed to attend, because she needs those documents, and she knows that if Olympia sees those documents before Maddie can, then it's already in the clear that, like, okay, who printed this out, what's going on, and then the case is all over. So Maddie definitely needs to get those documents out of the main document binder before Olympia could see it, so she needs to tag along with her for the rest of the day. Especially as she heads back to court to use the John Doe argument in order to get the IP address so they can start narrowing down the prospective field. Olympia, but before we get to the court thing, I know Julian does briefly run into Maddie, trying to, like, get her, not necessarily trying to get her off the case, but more like trying to, like, make her understand, like, hey, look, me and Olympia, we ain't in a good place right now. I'm not trying to ask you to intervene or get in the middle of it. I just want you to look out for her best interest. Just try to keep her in check. Make sure she doesn't go old, overlord on anyone. Try to make sure she's calm, focus on the case, and move on. That's basically it. And Maddie's not really comfortable with that, considering the fact this is what Julian wants, not in Olympia's best interest. But we'll get to more about that in a second. So we're back in the courtroom. Olympia's arguing for the case for the John Doe against the other prosecutor. This time, actually doing a pretty good job against her, while Maddie's trying to keep the client, the former nanny, a bit guarded, a bit protected right now. In the terms of like, it's gonna be fine. Let Olympia do her job, and even if this method doesn't work out, we'll find another method, and then we'll find another method. We'll eventually find a way to figure out who eventually did this. It's gonna happen eventually. Then so between Olympia's apologies and fast wording and very strong argument, she does manage to get the IP address approval. It's coming from the high school, not the high school, the prep school. So this kind of like takes an already bigger web and casts a very specific big web, considering the fact that anyone in the school could have done. Could have been a faculty, could have been one of the moms, could be one of the nannies, could be anyone. So this kind of sucks already, because this doesn't really help out their case whatsoever. So Olympia's just kind of like ready to get in there, swarm in like all gung ho to get that list. But again, Maddie kind of thinking of two things. One, she needs an opportunity alone to get those files, and number two, she definitely also needs Olympia not to basically destroy her kid's entire academic system, at least for right now. Also, at the same time, kind of be toward concerned that this is exactly what Julia wanted, but at the same time, this isn't exactly what she would have personally done had the documents not been in play here and had she not known about any of this. But knowing Maddie, she definitely takes the best of the situation, manages to like kind of peer through it, and manages to get both the document and the sign-in sheet at the same time. But sadly, getting the sign-in sheet doesn't really help out that much, considering the fact that the day specifically, there's no specific person that could be easily tied in to this incident, or at least the person they were looking at was not in this building, or at least not in that department to sign in as per the policy. So sadly, she is fully out. But that does mean that it has to be someone that attended that meeting, no matter what. I believe we cut back to Billy and Sarah for the last time before we get their resolution for the week, where I believe they kind of reconvene with them about who could potentially have been at the party. Also, once again, Billy's just completely out of it. He's kind of going through all the stages of denial once. Let's just call it. Let's call it Ace of Spades on that one. I'm trying to remember if there was any other details, if I can recall. I know we don't get the full like figure out conversation until like everyone's back at home texting. I eventually know, like, once Maddie finally gets an opportunity to go like away from things and like look at the documents herself and figure out, is this the beginning of the smoking gun she needs, or is this just another dud? As Julian and Olivia talk a little bit, and this is kind of where Julian admits to Olympia, like, hey, I'm just letting you know, I did ask Maddie to keep an eye on you, to kind of steer you in the right direction just in case. And obviously Olympia is not feeling well to that revelation, because again, they're supposed to be a team, they're supposed to be working together, and Maddie kind of didn't really have her full best interest at heart, so we can admit that much. We cut back over to Maddie, who looks at the documents, and sadly, it's not what it is. It's not quite 100% what it was. They don't really see it. I guess is the assumption that Senior was with someone, like romantically, sexually, however the case may be on that one. And I'm guessing it's not really clear if Senior is married. I didn't really see a wedding ring, or we didn't get many interaction between him and his son, if there is still a Mrs. Senior in the picture. But regardless of the case might be, whatever this was involved in, it has nothing to do with the pharmacy thing. It has nothing to do with the opioids crisis. So sadly, that means someone falsified the documents with Senior's signature So it could be Julian, it could be Olympia, it could be completely someone else. Who the hell knows? And like so far, I wouldn't be surprised if they introduce a mysterious fourth partner, a mysterious fourth person to this case to kind of throw a loop in there. I wouldn't be surprised. But the point is that Maddie did all this work and it is officially not seen. Well, mostly not seen. Anything could possibly happen, but at least the thing they were kind of clinching to, the like nail Senior down to this thing, is a no go. And she calls her husband, and he tries to be supportive, but sadly he does bring up the fact that Maddie did miss the mock trial today for that, and he brings up the fact that, oh yeah, like, well, I just used one of your old excuses to kind of like tell Augie that you got busy, you got sidetracked, and Maddie doesn't really take kind to that, considering the fact they were both working parents, and after a certain point Maddie kind of gave up certain things to kind of make it work around his schedule. And they kind of get into an argument about that, about, who was like the better parent at the end of the day. They kind of hang it up while Olympia heads into the roof. She kind of points point blank at Maddie, just saying, look, Julian told me, I can't believe you did that. Maddie doesn't deny it again, as well. Again, she's being honest to her. But again, she still had other interests at heart that wasn't Julian's when she made certain decisions when they were out today. And it doesn't really matter. Olympia just isn't quite happy with her right now, so they kind of leave it off there. Everyone returns home. Maddie talks to Augie and tells her about the news that the documents from Senior's computer didn't really go anywhere, sadly. So yeah, there's kind of a dead end on that front. They got no choice but to like fold it up, call it a day, and just like wait for another opportunity to figure out what to do next. Because again, at least on the Senior front, there's nothing new they could do here. There really isn't. So they decide, what, since Maddie kind of, we may not be progressing well on this, let's go focus on my case again and see if we can help out the team right now. And which actually they do. They actually work together virtually, trying to figure out what could be the connector here. The only thing of substance was that I think Olivia and Julian went over to pick up their kids from the nanny, and there was a pack of matches that one of the kids had, which was for a hotel. And then one thing led to another, and eventually they kind of deduced that, okay, there's a hotel at play here. The school system was around there. Like, there's a lot of red flags here, and Olympia kind of knows where to take it from here. Maddie meets up with her the next morning to apologize to her, as well as kind of give her a tool that she might need to get the thing that she's been asking for. Olympia sets up the meeting with actually the defense attorney that we were in court in a couple times already. They're having coffee, a little bit of catch up, and I'm like, what is the purpose of the scene? And apparently Olympia kind of checks her boxes in to let her know, hey, look, off the record, I know the IP address is listed to the school. I know it had to be someone that knows the supposed perpetrator, because they know their email and their password to even get into the account. Also the fact that there's just a lot of coincidental things going on with the hotel, and even the pictures kind of correlate with the locations of things. And the basic of the point is that the husband we saw earlier with the first mom that she was interviewing for was apparently involved in an affair. And the thing is that he had another affair with this defense attorney at one point or another. And she doesn't deny it. She's like, okay, it was one time, we ended it. It didn't go far as that time. We broke it off, where I am still in love with my husband. I just was lonely. I needed some companionship, and one thing led to another. And she assumed the nanny who was in the area saw her, and her best approach was to okay, let me get her fired so that she can get away from this, community, and then move downwards, and gets out of the field so that my secret's preserved. Sadly, however, the nanny never once mentioned her, never once acknowledged her, never once even thought she was even in the conversation of things with this entire case. So the fact she didn't even know about the affair or even the suspicions of it. So basically, she did all this based on a whim and an assumption. And she admits that, crap. Okay, I made a mistake there, but I could still deny it. I could still, there's so many things I could do. I don't have to I'm not going to ruin my life just to get her a job back. Okay, my family's more important, but sadly, Maddie gave Olympia a recording cam teddy bear. So yeah, all that confession is on camera. So Olympia uses it against her, and she does agree to settle out of pocket to the former nanny for her damages. And the team celebrates back at the firm, their victory. Billy kind of looking at all this of like, okay, I'm not gonna let this breakup, bring me down anymore because I kind of miss being involved in this big case here. So I'm gonna actually strap in, focus just on work for now, and get back to it. And try to really make an impact on the next case. I After that, I want to say we get back to where do we go from there? I think we get a private scene 1-on-1 with Maddie and Olympia, where they talk about it, and Maddie does admit to her like, even though that Julian asked of her to do it, she still never actually really let that influence anything of her decision. That she would have still done what she did that day, even if Julian did not talk to her. Because again, she still had the documents to get, so she had really no choice in the matter. And Olivia does believe her, and but she still questions the whole like, but you were acting so suspicious that day. Like, what was up with that? And she does kind of admit the truth, like, yeah, no, I had to attend my grandson's event, but I didn't want to let it be known that because I had a feeling that either I was going to be punished for it later or I was going to be denied it. So I just said it was a doctor's appointment and called it a day. And Olympia just says, well, next time you let me know and we'll make the arrangements. Definitely family is important. So you should have the right to go spend time with your family if you need to, especially if it's, an important thing like this. So thankfully the bridge is mended between them for now, at least, for the moment being. Maddie then goes over to Julian to apologize to him about, that she will not participate in his quid pro quo, that as of right now, because she was on a case with Olympia, she's going to be Team Olympia, but at least letting him know that, hey, if I'm on your team and we're working a case, even if it's Olympia, if I'm working your case, I will be Team you. So just let you know, loyalty, that's where I'm at. Then she kind of flips over some pens. Julian goes to pick it up, and they call it a day. So then I believe from there we return back home. Maddie and her husband talk a little bit just about the disappointment about the senior case. At least on the senior prospect of like that could have been the clue they needed. They do talk about it for a little bit. Especially they loop back around to them being parents to Ellie, and they weren't both perfect parents. Definitely there would have been things they should have done better, but at the end of the day, they got a reprisal to do it with Augie, and that's all that counts. Like, again, right now they're back to the matter at hand. They need to focus on figuring out who could have stopped all this from like progressing even faster than it has been. Augie shows up with his laptop saying that, he's ready to like kind of boot it up. I'm a little confused what that means, but apparently when they were buying the surveillance teddy bear last night, they also purchased a voice recording pen with Wi-Fi. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. So that they launched it up in hopes that at least right now their new primary suspect is Julian, and then hopefully that placing this pen in the office would probably like lead to something between getting maybe some like sort of hint from Julian, and when they play it, they do get a live conversation of Julian with Olympia. They do kind of like have a settlement with the school system that they are going to transfer the girls out of the private school system, or at least out of that specific one, to get away from it all. And Olympia kind of asked point blank the big question: who did Julian sleep with? And I'm just like, huh. That didn't really seem like the biggest cliffhanger in the world, but it still was like, I'm actually curious. I'm actually curious, who could this be? Could it be someone we know? Could it be someone new we're about to see in the next year? I really don't know. I'm just guesstimating over here. But that was it for this week's episode of Matlock. I enjoyed it a lot. I really, really did. I liked Maddie being tested with Olympia a bit, kind of having to like figure out like, because she has no loyalty to either of them. It's just like, just trying to play the system, trying to like make sure everyone kind of like feels like they're on, they got Maddie on their side when they really don't. I still feel bad for Billy though. I really, really do. And hopefully now that, we're going to be entering the single Billy life, hopefully they'll give him some more opportunities to like kind of like, spread his wings and fly, so to speak. I The only other thing I'm trying to remember was, yeah, I will give also kudos to the fact that, this, when it comes to the arguments, like I made my criticisms about an early episode where I think they just suddenly had Maddie and her husband into an argument. This kind of felt more like a natural one. I felt this was way more believable than that one, so I definitely felt like the writers improved on that one. That they definitely, like, even though this was already done before that episode came out, I still felt like they kind of, as I said, let's make it more natural, let's make it more organic, like a natural organic argument between them, and see how that would fly out. And honestly, like I still feel for Olympia. Definitely, I think that's just like, the plus for the show. Like, you get initial expectation of a person, then the next episode kind of, flips the script a little bit, like kind of like, what, no, it's not quite as it seems. It's not quite as it seems. So definitely, I'm feeling more sympathetic towards Olympia the more and more we get through it. Which again, if it does end up being Olympia, I'm gonna be like, that's gonna be the biggest top 10 anime betrayals of 2025 by that point. But we'll see how it all goes. We'll see. We still have a whole second half of the season to enjoy when we come back in the new year. But for the time being, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below, what did you think of this week's episode of Matlock? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I would love to have a conversation with you about it. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the first season of Matlock. If you want to know what we're doing normally What's the Two, besides our Matlock episode reviews, as many of you know, we are on our winter break officially for Matlock. Matlock will return to our screens on CBS or Paramount Plus on January 30th. So that means we will not be doing a single Matlock episode review until then. However, we are not done with our content rollout for the year just quite yet. This coming Thursday on our regularly scheduled Matlock schedule time, we will be putting on our Perry Mason Season 1 review. This will come out. It is filmed. Unlike last time I promised it before holiday break, I promised it would come out and it never did. It's filmed. It is in the midst of editing. So it is happening. Do not worry. So you will get something new this week. And then next week, I believe we're off next week, but the week after that, we are returning to our current now original roots. We are returning to The Rookie, as The Rookie returns for its 7th season at the very start of the brand new year. But we are going to be doing a Season 3 definitive review just before the new year hits, and then following suit the next week, we will be back with brand new weekly episodes. And that'll kind of keep you guys going if you are on that camp. Otherwise, I will see you back here and now at the end of January for the second half of Matlock. It's going to be 6 weeks. A lot can happen. It's going to be a long one, but again, this is just the nature of television. I kind of missed this a little bit. It's only been 2 years since the last proper TV season before the whole, strikes happened, but at least here was like, okay, this felt more natural, more organic of a break. But again, so I'll see you guys then. We will be back on January 30th with another brand new episode review for you. So again, until then, please have a happy holidays. Enjoy your winter break. Spend time with your loved ones. Spend time with your family. We have no idea where the world's going to be. When we come back here, it's going to be 2025. Who the heck knows what's going to happen by that? I really hope I'm not really jinxing myself. We got a new presidency. We got drones flying in the sky. Project 2025. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. My point is that we got a lot of content next year, and I look forward to delivering to you many more Matlock reviews to come in 2025. But again, enjoy your holidays. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And please also don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell. Follow us on social media. But until next time, peace out.